Hello everyone and welcome. In this video, we'll take a look at the reopening of Disney's Animal Kingdom. Now we're starting out here on World Drive, and you can see the old entrance to Hollywood Studios has now been completely removed. This is right before the park opening. Currently, Disney's Animal Kingdom is open from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. And you can see as we reach the toll booth to come into the parking lot just how slow it is. Hardly any cars here at all. Now you'll see here as we begin to park that they are parking cars using every other row in the parking lot and leaving the space in between cars empty. And then what they'll do is maybe an hour or so later, they'll start to fill up all the empty spaces. That way everyone's able to keep a nice distance from each other, getting out of their cars. And this gives you a good idea of just how slow it is now. Now to go to the park currently, they're using a reservation system. So you have to make a reservation in advance to be able to even get inside the park. Now as we enter the park, we're gonna head over towards Pandora. And you can see as we make our way over there, the crowds are really low. So they have a much lower capacity than normal, which is pretty nice. And you'll see just how short the wait times are. Usually when the park first opens, everyone heads to Pandora. Now, face masks are required to be worn at all times unless you're eating, drinking, or in one of the relaxation stations. You do have to be stationary if you're gonna eat or drink. You can't walk around with your mask off. And they have a lot of hand sanitizer that's available throughout the whole entire park, as well as you'll see signs all over the park reminding people to wear their mask at all times and maintain a physical distance from each other, as well as this audio message that plays every once in a while in the park.
Today, just a few reminders. Please wear a face covering. Clean your hands often and thoroughly. Cover your mouth and nose when coughing and sneezing, and maintain physical distancing. Thank you.
From what I've seen so far, they're doing a pretty good job of enforcing and making sure that everyone's wearing their mask and wearing it properly. As we head into Pandora here, you'll see on the Discovery River the boat pass by. They're using the Discovery River for the characters. They have them in boats and they will pass by every once in a while. And we'll see some of those later in the video. The first attraction I went to is Flight of Passage. It's hard to tell by looking at the sign here, but it's only a 5-minute wait time. Now we're in the queue for Flight of Passage. Flight of Passage is one of the busiest attractions in all of Walt Disney World, and in my opinion, I think it's one of the best attractions too. As we get closer to boarding the ride, you'll see these walls they put up here to create a barrier between people as they wait in line. They also have these markings on the ground. That way you can keep a distance from the party in front of you and behind you as you're waiting in line.
Welcome to the Avatar program. Soon, you're going to have a chance to undertake an amazing Na'vi rite of passage, flying on the back of this powerful animal called an Ikron, or as we call it, a Banshee. The way you're going to do this is by being matched to something called an avatar. They're created by blending human DNA and Na'vi DNA. Once we match you to an avatar, thanks to a special link chair, your mind will be able to control that avatar. Using avatars to fly this way was all figured out by my boss, Dr. Jackie Ogden.
Unfortunately, they don't allow you to film on Flight of Passage. It would be pretty hard to film anyways because it is in 3D. I think when you usually go on the ride, it holds 10 or 12 people. And when I went on it, there were only a total of 3 people in there riding at one time. And that way we were able to maintain a nice distance. Now I'm headed over to Navi River Journey now. You can see it only has a 5-minute wait time. What they're doing on this ride is they are loading park guests only in the front row of the boat. That way they're able to maintain a distance from each other. I was lucky enough to be the only person on this boat. Now I'm back on the walkway that goes between Pandora and Africa, and you can see there is no one else here. Now when we get further up here, you'll notice there's 2 cast members standing up here. And I think the cast members are just making sure that everyone's wearing their mask and wearing it properly. You'll notice throughout the park they do have some cast members standing around in areas you usually wouldn't see them. You'll see there's another one up here across from the Lion King Theater. Now this building, I believe, is part of the Club 33 that's coming to Walt Disney World. It's actually already arrived at the Magic Kingdom, but I think it's going to have a location here at Animal Kingdom as well. You'll see a cast member here on the right-hand side. Now both the Lion King show and the Finding Nemo show have not reopened yet. I'm starting to make my way towards the safari ride. You can see it's still really slow back here in Africa. I took a screenshot of the wait times right before noon, and you can see they were all really low, even as the day went along.
But a ritual is
As we get closer to boarding the ride, you can see the dividers here. You'll notice on the ride here, they have these dividers in between the rows. They are plastic and they're held up with canvas. They're a little hard to see out of if you're trying to look through the front of them, looking forward. So you almost have to look off to like a perfect 90-degree angle off the side. You know, you can kind of see it this view I'm holding it at right there. But it would be a little hard to see if you had, say, like 4 or 5 people in your group and the people sitting in the middle of the row. So it's not perfect, but it's not that bad.
Many Nile crocodiles are part of the cold-blooded family, which means they don't have those sweat glands to help keep them nice and cool in those very hot days in Africa. So in order for them to cool off, they're going to either jump into the water, or they'll just stay on land and leave their mouths open to get all of their body heat out. But it's because their mouths or dogs are one of the most successful predators in Africa. They are more successful than most large cats. 90% of the time, they will capture their prey. Now, the way they capture their prey is by working together as a team, taking turns chasing after it, up until it collapses in complete exhaustion. But unfortunately, African wild dogs are critically endangered. They're losing a lot of their homes to habitat destruction, making it harder for those babies will later on get those pink feathers. And they get their pink feathers from part of their diet their parents feed them, which is a brine shrimp. That brine shrimp contains keratin, and keratin will turn those feathers pink. About 15 to 20 hours of the day, and at night, that's when they'll do most of their hunting. Now, a group of lions is called a pride, and a pride is made of mostly females and one dominant male. Sometimes there are 2 males in one pride. But in this pride, the females are going to be the ones to go out hunting at night, while the male stays back and protects the rest of the pride.
Now we're headed down the Gorilla Falls exploration trail. You can see it was also really slow out here. It was a really nice morning.
She was named after a facility in Africa that rehabilitates orphan gorillas. Or Grace. We work very closely with them.
Notice they have these ropes and signs up in front of the primates, and they are trying to keep park guests distance from them, it appears. They also had these signs, and it was roped off in another location over across from the Starbucks, close to the Tree of Life trails. At this point, I think the park had been open for just over an hour. We're now heading towards the Harambe market. Now we'll start making our way towards Asia, and you can see here the Tree of Life. Now, one thing I wanted to point out is on the trash cans here, they've added all these signs to the trash cans, and notice how they have them all propped open, so you can easily throw stuff away without having to use your hands to open them. Right across from the Up Theater here is where the relaxation station is, which is an area of the park you can go and remove your mask. The other relaxation station is inside the Pizzafari restaurant on Discovery Island. Here's our first look at the characters. These are the boats that they have going around the Discovery River. This one, of course, has Mickey, Minnie, and Pluto in it. There was probably a total of 3 to 4 different groups of characters that were going around in the boat. And they also had one that had some of the live bands that perform in the park, which is kind of cool to see. I think having the characters in the boat like that is a really good idea. I think even after the whole pandemic thing is over, it would be neat if they kept that going in some way. Now I'm headed to Kali River Rapids, and you'll see it only has a 5-minute wait. What they're doing on that to socially distance people is they're just loading fewer people on the boats, which is pretty nice. All the splash effects on Kali River Rapids have been turned off, so the only part where you really get wet now is on the drop itself. This is one of the harder rides to film at Walt Disney World because it's so unpredictable, but I got pretty lucky on this one. Now I'm going to start making my way over towards Expedition Everest. By this time, everything was still basically at a 5-minute wait time. In the time between I visited and now, Disney has announced that the Rivers of Light, the nighttime show out on the water here next to Everest, has closed permanently. It won't be reopening. And the Primeval World roller coaster over in the Dinosaur Land has also closed permanently. I did forget to mention at the beginning of the video that they do, of course, require you to have a temperature check here at Disney as well. They did that at Universal, and I believe your temperature has to be 100.4 degrees or lower to get inside the park. Another thing I wanted to point out, if you look at the cast members here in front of the entrance to Expedition Everest, they're wearing both face masks and face shields to protect them, which I thought was kind of interesting. Over at Universal, they were just wearing face masks only.
Himalayan Escapes welcomes members of the Expedition Everest team. When you board, please sit down immediately. Without escape will be executed. Attention, Expedition.
If you notice there, my camera was pretty shaky on the big drop there at Everest. I just about lost my face mask on there, so I was making sure it didn't come flying off. That was really the only time I had a problem with it almost coming off. You can see how they had the two cast members standing there on the bridge, kind of like they did in between Pandora and Africa. I'm headed over towards Dinosaur now. You can see the park is still really empty. They had all the Midway games closed in the Dinorama area, so the only thing open over here is the Triceratops spin, as well as the retail stores that are located there kind of at the exit of the Dinosaur ride. And taking one last final look at Primeval World here, in recent years the ride was only open seasonally, and I believe the original manufacturer of the ride has gone out of business. So maybe that's part of the reason why they closed it down. Maybe if they had to order parts for it or that sort of thing. Now, as we're headed to Dinosaur, you'll notice that this is another ride with just a 5-minute wait time. And the dividers they had on the Safari ride that went in between the rows, they have those on the Dinosaur ride. They are behind the front row. I don't know that I really got great video of them because I sat in the front row. When I went to board the ride, there was literally no one else in line waiting, so I had the whole ride vehicle to myself, which was pretty fun. And what they do on the Dinosaur ride is they are loading park guests in just the front row and the last row. That way you're able to keep a nice distance between you and the other people riding the attraction.
Time travel commencing in T-minus 10 seconds and counting.
This is Seeker. Listen up. We've got to get in, grab the iguanodon, and get out before the asteroid hits. Let's roll! Now, let's go get that dino. Computer, what are you tracking?
Styracosaurus.
Get them out now!
Asteroid impact.
Brace yourself! This is it! They're not gonna make it! They're not gonna make it!
Mission accomplished.
You made it! I knew you would, and guess who made it back with you? I better find him before security does. Thanks for everything!
Please gather personal belongings.
Now that we've been through all the attractions here, we'll end the video out by just going around the park. And what I did for the end of the video, so I'm just going to leave it with all the natural sounds of the park. Had a lot of comments on Facebook, people wanted me to make sure that I'm still uploading videos without commentary. I will have some more videos with and without commentary, as well as videos from all the other Disney parks. I've been to all of them recently, so keep an eye out for those. And let me know in the comment section if there's anywhere else you want me to go or anything else you want to see. If you like the video, please give it a like and hit the notification bell if you want to be alerted when I upload a new video. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.